Rain in darkness from above. Alright, let's get some music on. Let's get some music to play. Not this one. I wouldn't mind actually some just chill opera at some point. Now, how is everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. It's rare for it to happen, but I'm actually going to be playing a game 3 times in a row. My plan is to play the special, the class we unlocked before that summons a tentacle every like 20 seconds or whatever. And see if we can do some of the latest stuff with it. Probably go for a summon build, bearing in mind it summons something. But well, it'll kind of be just up in the air what we actually get. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling chill. It's interesting because this last weekend, generally not much has happened. But I know that next weekend a decent amount is happening for me. So like one thing. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to be playing Haster. And you know what? Just to make it cool, I'll play the bat gun. Do I care about any of these things? I'm going to play the bat gun. And we're going to play on Darkness level 5. I'm going to play it on the... Let's go Pumpkin Patch. Why not? So yeah, generally not much has hugely happened. I mean, if we just jump straight into what we've been doing, obviously on Monday we played some more of this. And I realized actually, because I was playing this game off stream and then I was playing it on stream, and I think it's one of those games that really, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that I have to also talk while playing the game, but I think I actually prefer playing this game off stream than I do playing it. Sorry, I think I prefer playing this on stream more than I play it off stream. Which I think it's honestly quite weird, but it's true. I just find myself like, maybe it's because I get overwhelmed, because normally with like the amount of things I have to do, and when I'm talking, and maybe part of my brain is distracted, so I'm not thinking about it as much. I've got no idea. This is just all hypotheticals. Yeah, Monday we did that. It was really, really fun, to the point where obviously I'm playing it again. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest sort of, what's the word? I guess one of the biggest sort of like ways in which you can figure out I'm having fun is if I'm playing it again, you know? Even though I'm not doing particularly well, it doesn't matter. I wasn't doing particularly well last stream either, if we're being honest. But yeah, that's effectively... Hold on a second, let me just get this, because it does a decent amount of damage. That's effectively all I did on Monday. A lot of my stream days are just me playing games on stream, but generally, really had a lot of fun with that. To the point where I'm playing again. I'm so glad that I got it recommended by... I don't even think it was actually recommended. I guess I'm technically using that word wrong. Because actually, it wasn't recommended to me. It was just mentioned casually that the only sort of games like this that they had played was this game and the game I was currently playing at that moment, which is Disfigure. Which I do still play, by the way. I haven't completely abandoned Disfigure. it's still on my list of things to play. And whenever a new weapon comes out, I'm obviously going to go through a stint of playing that again. And then on Tuesday, what I did was quite interesting, was I was having a look at Dragon Age stuff. So, you know, obviously this new Dragon Age game's coming out, and generally people are pretty negative on it, from what I can hear. From what I can gather, the best comments I've seen about the new Dragon Age game is, if it didn't have the word Dragon Age on it, it would be an okay RPG. Which is not a huge thing to say, because like that feels like my comment about that would be like my comment about Mass Effect Andromeda, where that game is good, and it would be considered generally decent if it wasn't for the fact it had the word Mass Effect at the front. If it wasn't a Mass Effect game, I think generally people would consider it a decently good game. But sadly, because it has the word Mass Effect in front, and Mass Effect 1, 2, and even 3, like, are incredible games, that sure, maybe the ending is bad, but I'll be honest, I don't know very many games where I can say the ending was generally good. I think I can think of a couple games where the ending was neutral, but there is very little games I could tell you that I'd say the ending was good. The experience was good, but the ending normally is just the ending of that experience, you know? Maybe Space Marine 2 off the top of my head, I think I would be like, that is good. But yeah, honestly, I might try Dragon Age. It's probably on my list for the next thing I play after Baldur's Gate, which does mean that I'm probably going to it's likely that I finish Baldur's Gate in like April, right? I almost said August. No, it's not that bad, but like in April, if I'm being realistic. Because unless the later acts are significantly shorter, just look at how long it's taken me to get through blimmin' the first two acts. First two acts have taken 21... I haven't even technically finished Act 2, but it's taken me 21 episodes. 21 episodes, one every week is 21 weeks. Like, that's huge amounts of time. I may be underselling it by saying April, if I'm being honest. I'll take this one. Yeah, okay, they are summons. I thought so. But yeah. Oh, I needed to... But yeah, as I was saying, I've got it on my radar because I know Inquisition wasn't particularly well loved, and I had a blast playing it, and I feel like that's one of those games that maybe I could have some fun with. Really? No Tome of Summoning? Do I just take a load of health? I'm just going to take a load of health. I'm not dodging anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely going to consider that one. I will say that one of the things that Dragon Age has that is a cool thing, but I actually don't think is going to be particularly helpful for me, is that it has this whole thing of like all your decisions in all the previous games mattering, right? But I don't even remember the one game I did play, never mind the however many games came before that. And so I don't think I'm going to be getting all those hidden, like, references that they have. But I don't know. I think there's a chance that I might find it interesting. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm pretty sure I'll find it interesting. Apparently, the dialogue is a bit like weird, but I'm not the most observant person, so I feel like I'll be fine. And apparently, if you pick the funnier dialogue options, which I kind of feel like I'd lean to, because they'd be funnier to see, I feel like I'm gonna be fine. I do realize though that a lot of the time I'm playing games that are, however, like are already, like, people have stopped talking about them by the time I'm playing them. I mean, I'm playing Baldur's Gate now when it's like had a year of being like the top of the top, and I'm playing it now at the end of said year. You know, it's one of those things where I just don't really see myself as, like, I don't know. I think it might. I was about to say I don't see myself as being somebody that you watch just for seeing the game. But then I thought about it for a second. I was like, I kind of do, because in a certain extent, I don't find myself like an exceptionally funny person. But I don't know. I'm getting all cynical there. Anyway. That's mainly what I did Tuesday, was that, and I played a Pokemon Find game, because I'm just addicted to doing that in my spare time at this moment. Although the one I'm currently playing, the difficulty's spiked up a bit, and I think it's because the Pokemon I've chosen to, like, be my Pokemon are not particularly strong. But the power levels definitely jumped up significantly, and because of that, I'm having a lot of horrible time with it. Not horrible time, sorry, that's wrong. I'm having a harder time, and it means that I have started cheesing it. I'll be completely honest. It's my own fault, though, because I was going through and I was doing the same thing I did on all the other Pokemon Find games, where what I'll do is I'll go, I like this Pokemon and these Pokemon, I'm just going to stick with them. The problem is, I've gotten to the point now where I've played so many, of these games back to back, that the Pokemon I like that are left are also just not very good in combat. So I'm having a hard time actually winning. Max health. Drops of max health, chance to inflict burn, curse increase, sure. I know I always pick this one, but it's always the one that scales with summoning. And you're picking a weapon that's about summoning, you know? Do. But yeah, that's mostly what I did on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, oh God, I was so happy about a Wednesday stream. I'm like, you have no idea how hard it was for me to not play Baldur's Gate today, because I was blimmin' looking at, like, the place we left it at. I'm so looking forward to what happens after. And I'm so glad I went and did all the side stuff. Could you imagine if I hadn't have gone, like, I'm going to try out some of the side stuff? I would have missed a significantly big part of the game. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's such a huge part of the game. I missed effectively, like, probably more than half of the game. And look, did things happen in that last stream that I'm kind of sad happened? Yes. The character that was obviously from a previous Baldur's Gate game that died in the fight, I would have wanted her not to die, obviously, but it happens, and it's not as a big enough decision that I want to go back and change it. It doesn't fundamentally change the game. Like, I know it'd be like, oh, but you went back and did X, but like, the things that I've gone back and changed have been things that have fundamentally changed the whole part of it. Could you imagine me going into the stuff I'm doing right now, but just without an army? Because the army had all died? Except for the person from Baldur's Gate? Could you imagine that? That'd be insane. But like, that's what would have happened. So that's why I had to go back about that one. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm very, very happy with choosing Baldur's Gate, and there's been situations in the story where, I mean, if you watched last episode, you'd see it. I was squealing for joy. Like, I was actively so happy. And just a cinematic moment of, like, if I was better at doing clips and had more enthusiasm around them, I would make a clip out of me going, I need to get this roll, and just repeatedly re-rolling, and then the final instance of my inspiration, the last inspiration that I had, getting the roll that meant that I convinced Shadowheart that to change her ways. It's cinematic, literally. Like, I can't imagine a better way of doing it than that. I was just like, it's just insane. I hate these homing bullets. And so, like, seeing that kind of stuff, and then seeing, like, I'm about to die. Shoot an additional bullet. Shoot them with lightning. Make them very, very frightening. Okay, what does this do? Summon more, sure. I don't know how much the tentacles are actually doing anything. But yeah, I was like, I'm insanely happy about what's happening. I'm so happy. And then... I was close though. I almost had it. Do we try again? Or do we want to move to... I think we want to move to the other area. Bow now. Bow now. Bow now. No, I want her. And I do want this still. And I do want to be on Darkness 5. But I want to do it on the Forest. I want to take the easy way out. I know it's the easier one, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I was so happy about what happened. And I think that scene also made me... It was really useful to see that scene, because it also made me go, okay, I've made the right choice by choosing Shadowheart as the person that I'm romancing. Because seeing Shadowheart, like, overcome this, like, this obviously... I don't know if they're obviously evil, but making that scene with Shadowheart made me go, oh, that's why I chose it. And the fact that she was like, you are the reason why, you are a constant there that, like, helped me through this, more so than my faith has, was just like it's a cinematic moment. I loved it. I just can't. In my head, I was like coming up with these ideas of like, oh, how would I do an evil campaign in this sort of like world, right? And then I saw that scene, and now I'm like, how the hell would I even do an evil campaign? How would I be able to pick that decision that means that I don't get this? You know? Even Gale. I don't like Gale at all. But Gale's story and Gale's like acceptance of what's happening to him, it's insane. Like, it gets me in the feels to the point where even though I don't like him at all, I'm still like, but I'm not going to let you die, kind of thing. It's just, it's genuinely great. It genuinely feels like the kind of stories that I watch in like watch people do in like on YouTube or on Twitch, you know, the TTRPG or the D&D stuff that I watch. It feels like that, except in addition to what it normally is, it arguably is better than a lot of them, for one, and two, I'm controlling it. It's literally like I'm doing a personal DMing, a personal one-on-one sort of DM session. Well, not a DM, personal one-on-one session with the DM of a whole game, but they're playing every character other than me in a perfect way that makes me interested in like what all the characters go through. Whereas like I don't feel like there's been many characters in RPGs where I've been like, oh no, don't die, I'm really care about you. Like, I care about some characters. Like, I cared about, you saw with Rogue Trader that I cared about a lot of the characters, but at the end of the day, for most of them, I was like, okay, it's happened now, there's nothing I can do about it, let's get on with the game, you know? Whereas in this one, like, the only person that I feel like I'm not particularly caring about, bearing in mind that I only have three of these people of like, I think there's like 7 people you can choose from to be in your party. Of those people, I think the only one I don't care about is Lae'zel. And Lae'zel is still at the point where like, she's still comparable to many other RPGs. Like, she would be a good main like protagonist in another RPG, and it would be a good RPG. But like, in comparison to the others, she's the only one that I'm like iffy on. Like, I'm not 100% on board with her. But all the others I'm 100% on board with. I really want Will to find his father and get out of this contract. I really want Karlash to be able to live her life without being in literal hell. I really want Shadowheart to find whatever faith she needs to continue on with her life, whether that's from her friends, you know, friends and loved ones, or whether it's from actual faith in a different god, or one that potentially cares more about her, as obviously the Lady of Lost doesn't care about anything other than Lost. Now, I'm saying that, and I'm not 100% sure if that is true. Because at the end of the day, the Lady of Lost, I think there's a part of her that does care about her followers, but in a twisted sort of way in which she thinks the way that you care about them is for them to be like her, which is being the embodiment of loss. But I do think that, like, if you're downtrodden and you've lost, you're feeling really bad and like nothing's going your way, and you're at that point of like, I don't know what to do, I do feel like she would be there to help you, and she would be an ally for that. Because I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't seem to imply that she's like, murk yourself, you know, like, that would be it doesn't seem like that's what she's advocating in any capacity. It just feels like she's like, you have to feel loss, but it feels like she forgets the second part, which is like, if you don't feel loss, you don't understand what you already have. You know, it's one of those situations where it's like, if you've only known peace, you won't realize how good peace is. And if you've only known war, you'll never know what peace is like, right? There's got to be a balance between them. Bullet damage down? Sure. I don't know. It's one of those situations where it'd be interesting to look in. Maybe it would be more reading from her temple and listening to dialogue options from potentially Shadowheart if you go down a different decision and she's still devoted. But I'd be interested to see. Like, okay, what actually does she represent once you look into it? Because like there is logic to what you would assume to be really like dour, and this one does nothing. I just took a thing that does nothing. Oh no, I got one soul heart out of it, so it does something. There is some logic behind the idea of like, okay, I don't have like this is a really bad thing that's got happened to me, right? But I learn from said thing and grow as a person. So like I always look to the example of like in the Pathfinder, I think it's the Kingmaker game, there is a character in it that's like a dwarf, and he's a follower of this god that's effectively the god of the inevitable end of the world, like the fact that everything eventually ends. But there is a logic to like that being a good god, in the sense of like you realize that everything eventually ends, and so you realize that you can see the beauty in the fact that I'm bad at explaining these things, but you see the beauty in everything because it is limited. Like there's this thing that Ricky Gervais says in I think it's called Afterlife, where it's like the true beauty, and I see beauty in stuff because it has an end or something. Like you have to hug your loved ones because that could be the last time you hug them, right? Like everything is more precious because it has an end. Like there is some logic to these gods of loss and like negative things, and how like death and loss and everything can be a force of good, and how like life and eternity can be a force of evil. There is some logic to that, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that if that's a part of Shar, it's a very, very small, a very, very niche part of Shar, because it doesn't seem like, based on what I'm seeing, that that's what they're going for. But I don't know. All I'm saying is there is a way you could spin the goddess of loss into like a good goddess. Like the idea of potentially it's something like, oh, you've lost somebody, well, here's your new family. Your loss has given you you've had loss, but it's not the end of it, kind of thing. It's something you could go with. I just don't think they go with that route. Ooh, burn increases with summon damage. Hold on a second. Pick the one that's new and interesting. But yeah, Baldur's Gate, in conclusion, I'm having a ton of fun with it. I'm not 100% sure if Warlock was the best way to have gone. I think if I had played it again, I would possibly play maybe a Paladin, maybe a Ranger would kind of been cool. But I think I'd play something else, because I do find myself feeling like I just die instantly. Now, admittedly, I am wearing no armor at the moment, but that's because it effectively takes my basic attack, my basic ranged attack, and I don't have a lot of spells as a warlock, so most of the time this is what I'm using. It takes that and effectively doubles the plus I get at the end. It doesn't double my damage, but it it adds an extra 5 to it, which is notable. So it goes from being a D10 plus 5 to a D10 plus 10. And that's a notable difference. An extra 5 damage. The fact that I can crit with that and I can do like 20 damage and it hits twice. Like it shoots 2 shots out. Like that's notable. That's why I've sacrificed effectively all of my health. I think the problem is I just get focused down now and I lose so much damage because of it. So I think I sort of need to be... I'm not sure what I do to stop that, because the way that you get that is armor. I guess I could potentially wield a shield. I'd have to see what I'm using a mace at the moment and an offhand, but I guess I might not need the offhand. Maybe I could put a shield in that and at least get a tiny bit more AC. It is moving my AC from what is probably like 10 to like 12, but it's something, I guess. In theory, it's an extra, what, like 20%? I keep thinking when the screen shakes that I'm being hit, but it's not, because every time that happens, I look at the screen and I'm not getting hit. God, why does every map have to have those blimmin' homing shooter of some variety? Because goddamn do I hate every single one of them. If they were just regular shooters, I'd be fine, but you can see that... Oh, I guess maybe these ones don't. Maybe I'm being too harsh on these guys. These guys actually don't curve to attack me. But the ones on the other ones, like, they curve and like only like very slowly curve. But they do curve. Oh, cool. When I get hit, do I lose... Does it destroy all the bullets around me as well, so I can't get back-to-back hit? That's kind of cool. I think my problem last run was that I wasn't shooting. And then even though the shooting is not a metric ton of damage, it's not bad, because it's buffed by all my summon buffs, and it's buffed by the fact that it puts a burn on them, and the burn is also buffed by my summon buffs. And now every time I shoot, if they're still on the board, they do a big explosion around them. And that's notable. I mean, I am getting hit by a lot of these guys, which is a bit worrying. But I mean, I'm always going to get hit by these. It's why in the Disfigure game, I always choose to, I always choose to go with the whole idea of being able to shoot down shots that are coming at me. Because it just means that that's one way I can't lose, even if my build's good. Because as we saw in the last one, even if your build's good, it doesn't mean anything if you die immediately. Move speed? Yeah, move speed allows me to dodge stuff a bit more. I think when you're shooting, that's a percentage of your movement speed that you're moving at. I'm hoping it's that. Did I take the attack speed thing for my dragon? And simultaneously, if I did I take the damage thing for my dragon? I remember taking a turn off for the egg and a turn off for the bonus to the dragon something, but I don't remember what the third thing I did was. Oh, and I also have the dragon gives me a percentage of their damage, which is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of scaling stuff. I'm sure I've brought this up before, but the idea of something growing stronger and stronger over time, I will almost always pick, because I absolutely love it. I love the idea of growing threats. I also love the idea of damage over time, and I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think it's because a lot of games, when they have that poison, it is also a growing threat, except it's a growing threat to their inevitable death. You know? Number go up, they take more damage every turn, and eventually they stop taking damage because they're dead. Although you can make an argument, I guess they're still taking damage. I know with poison, it's not that. But yeah, it's always been my go-to for those ones. Do I take more defense, or do I take reload speed? Reload speed, please. But yeah, it's generally, as I said, Wednesday was great. Thursday came around, not much to talk about with Thursday. Played some more of the fan game, watched some more of Rock Grind, as I've been doing at work and I've been doing at home, because it's just my go-to at the moment, because there's blimmin' 50 something episodes and they're all pretty cool. I'm gonna die. Damn, I should have taken the heal. I should have taken the heal. I should have taken the heal. But yeah, I was watching more of that. I watched more of some. I've been watching this Minecraft SMP, but it's like everybody's like a tiny little rat in a big hotel, and it's just wholesome. I love it. Everybody there is just nice and wholesome. Well, most of them, but yeah, it's been fun to watch that. And then Friday, we did some Final Fantasy after having that break last week. I thought we'd fight Golbez. I did some fake news, which I guess is going to be more relevant seeing as he's gotten in again, but let's not talk about politics. Politics doesn't come into this. But yeah, I did some more of Final Fantasy, and it's interesting. I'm at this point where I'm just looking. The only bit I'm looking for now is because I've really liked overall this story. I have no complaints about the story at the moment, other than the fact that now I'm just sort of feel like I'm waiting for the Golbez thing. I felt like it was expanded a bit longer than it needed to be, and that it feels like I could be wrong here, and I haven't looked at spoilers. It feels like they've quite heavily implied that Zero is going to die. Now, I hope it doesn't happen, because I really like her character and I don't want her character to die. But she's just gone, don't worry, I'll be back in a bit, which is a death flag. And I don't think that people that have been introduced in patch quests have a particularly good track record. I remember Aranje's friend, I think she was called Moonbreeder or something like that. And she's like, she appears in a patch quest and then does not survive much longer, to put it lightly. And that's the kind of thing that I'm worrying about, is because I really like a character and then the character's gonna disappear, and I'm just like, that's a shame, you know? You've built up this whole story around her, and she's finally sort of hit that point where she realizes now, oh, I know what, like, feelings are and what friends are. And you know they've all done that so that the final scene is going to be her is going to be, I know what friends are. Friends do stuff without expecting anything in the return, and then she's going to just sacrifice herself. She's going to go like, he can't be contained in just a regular crystal. I'm going to go in. and become and sacrifice myself to become a giant crystal to keep him in this area or something, or I'm going to sacrifice myself to turn into a crystal to stop the portal from happening because the tear is too large. I think honestly, I think the same thing is going to happen with the dragon as well. Not Vitra. I don't think he's going to die. But I do think that Blimmin, his sister, definitely dead. Definitely dead. I don't think it's even close to being anything other than that. Like, I don't want to be right, because both of these characters, I'm interested in both what their story is now and what their story could be in the future. I'm interested in both of them. I really want to see how Zero interacts with, like, now that she is what she is, into how she interacts with people more. Even if she's just a side character. Like, they still occasionally bring up the blimmin', I forgot I think her name was Gaia, but she's like the lady that was with, why do I remember a side character's name, but I don't remember the main, like, lady Saint of Light or whatever that was in Shadowbringers. Anyway, her, like, they still mention Gaia with her occasionally. Like, they mentioned it before that, like, they're rebuilding slowly but surely. It's like perfect. They're bringing up a character that I remember from doing the little side stuff. But goddamn, do I don't think they're gonna survive, if I'm being honest. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I come back next week and I'm like, oh, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. Instead, I don't know, she's just gonna be living in Razat-Han with Vitra and his sister as they just live their life in ideal paradise while we go off and deal with a minor threat that's not really relevant to the whole story. As just a side thing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm overall, though, having a great time with this story. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the God stuff. My only worry with that is that it's exclusively playing with other people and it's not something that's particularly popular. So I do think there's going to be a fair amount of dead air. Well, not dead air, because I'll be talking in it. But a fair amount of time where I'm just sitting there going, I guess we just wait. And I just have to riff on, like, random things I'm thinking about at that moment, you know? Which I'm fine to do. Like, that's partly part of being a literal streamer. But I know that that's not the best experience, you know? There's very little people that can... It shows it's only like the top streamers are like able to regularly just go, I'm just going to stream me talking. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm that's not a problem, and actually just these long periods of just talking is actually going to be a good thing. But I don't know. It doesn't feel right when I'm not showing off the game that I have said I'm playing, you know? And I'm just waiting. But there's nothing I can do about that because you can't play them. You can't play like trials or these dungeons as a solo experience with NPCs, because it's the side stuff in the end of the day. You don't... Oh, I didn't have a good run there anyway. I didn't have a great run. Hello. But yeah, another news though, we've finally started on our house doing this sort of major. So we're getting the driveway done, because we had it done before. I don't know if I brought this up on stream. I'm sure I did, because I was streaming at that point. We got it done by. I'll go out and say it. I think they're just what you'd consider cowboy builders. They did it, and there was a bit of complications with the whole thing in general. But then when they finished, we were, needless to say, very unimpressed, because for a driveway that, as you can probably guess from the name, you're expecting to drive your car onto it. We just went up to them when you can't get a car up here. And it shows that when they were like, yes, you can, and we were like, show us, they got into their car and they tried to get up the ramp and up the driveway, and they got to a point and they stopped. And we were like, well, why'd you just stop? And they stopped. We know why they stopped. It was because if they had gone any higher, they would have started hurting the under part of their car, because it was too steep. They had made it completely too steep. And that was, look, it was, what was sad about it was admittedly a distant member, but still a member of the family. And you never expect that from members of the family. You're always like, oh, we'll go with them because we know they're trusted, you know? Because, I mean, they wouldn't screw over family. Now, admittedly, it's a very distant family member, but still. But hopefully it's done now. What was funny about the group we're using now is the main guy was like really on board with doing this, even though like we don't have the most money, so it's not like we're giving him the most money, but he was really like eager to do this. And it was because he was like, this is such a bad job, I actively want to do a better job. And I was like, and that's just like, I was just like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Now, there is always that sneaking suspicion in your head, right? And it's definitely been going around in my mind of like, okay, but what if these people were also bad, you know? And frankly, it's at the point now where if all they need to do is make something functional, I think even if it isn't 100% what we asked for, like in terms of style or in terms of like in terms of design, as long as it can get the cars up, or even just a car, like we're hoping to get 2 cars up, but even if it's just 1 car, like if it can do that, we're probably just gonna settle. We'll be like, fine, we're not 100% like satisfied with this, but we are not going through the palaver of doing that whole thing again. It was really funny when the last guy tried to get the car up, because before he tried his own car, he tried using my mum's car, and it was notable that he went with a lot of power with my mum's car until she went like, no, stop, you're damaging my car. And then when he started using his car, suddenly he starts doing it a lot slower, and also stops at a similar point. And you just know that what he was going to do was he was going to get the car up, but he was going to severely damage it in the process. And it's like, well, that's not useful. Hey, you can use your driveway, but you can barely get up normally, so you're screwed if it's wet or it's icy at that moment. And also, it will damage your car every time you use it. You know, it was insane. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be done in a week, which I kind of suspected it would take longer, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm also pretty happy because I've got a TTRPG thing coming up as like a little private. It's a private game, but like it's partly the reason why I was doing that. I think it was 2 weeks ago, it might have been 3 weeks ago, where we were doing the Pathfinder stuff. Part of the reason I was doing that was just to get ready for this game. I've talked about it before many times, but I'm really looking forward to it because we're getting close to the session 0. And maybe once we've done that, I can stop making blooming backup characters. And I'll actually can like properly... The thing is with the backup characters, the vast majority of them are not like completely new characters. They are the character I'm playing at the moment, but like them... How do I say this? Them, but like a different flavor of what class they are, effectively. So like I've got a character idea that works with them being a sorcerer. I have a character idea that works with them being a monk. I've got the character idea that I haven't set in stone at the moment. Well, not set in stone, but is the prominent one that is written down as the main one at the moment, which is a fighter. And it's like, I can make my character easily split into any of those. It's just figuring out at the moment. Increase all damage by 2 for each max health. Yeah, sure. The only one that actually boosts my summons, so yeah, I'll do it. But like, it's just me figuring out at the moment, okay, which one are you gonna go for? Which one's the final choice? And I think that's what a session 0 will do for me. I'm still so pissed, by the way, that I made this whole backstory that I put a load of like, not a load of work into, but I put work into. And the fact that I've just lost it, I've obviously deleted it in some way. But I'm so pissed because I'm like, all that work. I even used place names from the player's introduction thing for the module. I'm just like, all that work that I'm going to have to do again. I know the story. And it's not a particularly complicated... I didn't write, like, the Da Vinci Code for backstory. It's not huge. But I'm just sad because I was like, I've done this. I've got this out of the way. I know what my character is. And because now the backstory sort of disappeared, it makes me, feel like more likely to switch up what the character actually is. When I was like, no, I'm good with setting stuff in stone because I know that I always go back on what I do. I've talked about this before, but like there's so many times that I've been like, I'm gonna play a monk, and then the closer and closer it's gotten to the time, I've been like, oh, but I like this thing and I like this thing, and then I've made just a different character so much closer to the actual time that isn't a monk. And I've just been like, I've been so annoyed by it. I've always regretted doing that. Do I take more health? Yeah. Freeze is good as well. The reason I go for freeze is it means they stop shooting. But yeah, like I'm really hoping that I can come up with like a solid idea and stick with it after the session 0. Also, another thing that will be quite interesting is I will be in a voice call with somebody I've never talked to before, and it's a bit daunting. I'm not gonna lie. I've only heard good things about them, but it's not going to change the fact that I'm going to be nervous. I'm always nervous when I'm talking to new people, which I know seems weird saying that, but wanting or doing streaming as a hobby, but it's true. It's one of those situations where I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I'm in one of the situations where I'm just always nervous. I've gotten better with time, but it's still a prominent thing with me where I'm just like always nervous when meeting new people, and it'll be several sessions before I'm actually like properly like talking to them and actually interacting with them. But hopefully I'm better, because this will be the first time in a while that I've like properly talked with a new person and interacted with them. I'll take the burn one. I like the burn one. So maybe I'm better. Maybe it'll be better this time. But we'll see. We will see. I think one of my other worries with it is that, and I messaged a couple people about this that had a bit more experience with Pathfinder, but I'm still worried. Like, there's that part of me, the cynic in me, that worries that I'm going to be in this situation where I'm sitting and looking at my fighter and going, oh, that person just cast spells, and this person used cool like battle abilities that they're doing sneak attacks, or they're doing simultaneous attacks with their animal companion, and I'm just basic attacking them. You know, it's like, it's weird because I've always had, that's one of the reasons I've always been hesitant to play a fighter in D&D. And it's different. There's a couple of subclasses in D&D that change the fighter from just being boring basic attacker to I actually have a plethora of things I can do, right? And so I know in D&D to go for those ones, right? I know to go for the Battle Master. I know to go for the Rune Knight. I know to go for the Eldritch Knight, so that I have a load of options I can do. Even to a certain extent, I know to like have a talk with the DM to get more of them, but go for Arcane Archer. Ooh, Holy Shield. But in Pathfinder, obviously, I'm completely new about this kinds of stuff, and I've had a look at the stuff I get later because that was the suggestion I was given, and I look at it and I'm going, is this enough to keep me entertained in combat and not feel like I'm not doing anything, or I'm not doing anything fun? Because the better players, like the more experienced and the better players, they'll do something like, they're playing a basic fighter, right? But they'll flavor their actual character's identity so that the role-playing stuff is really interesting, that keeps them entertained. Every slash that they do, they've specifically explained and narrated in a way that gets them more into it and makes them sound more badass. But I'm not particularly good at that. And every time I start a campaign, I'm like, I'm going to try and do that. And then every time, sometimes even in the first session, I will just go like, a part of me will just sort of stop and go, I basic attack it, you know? Instead of going for like, I try and slash. I try to slash him in X or Y, you know? And I don't know. It's always dependent, I guess, on my mood, but I know it's a problem with my, like, ability to... I don't know what the problem is. I'm trying to come up with like a reasoning behind it, but I'm realizing that I don't have one, and I'm just stuck on the spot trying to make an idea without even knowing the answer. But I know it's a problem, and I know that yeah, they do more damage. Maybe they can actually kill stuff. I don't know. I don't even know if they're killing stuff normally. But like, I know it's a problem, and I'm worried about it, and I'm not... I know that I cannot focus... I can go like and take a bit of non-focus defensive and non-things that are things that aren't focused into defense. But I don't know. I'm still looking at them. I could be wrong. I'm getting too stuck in my head. You know, I go through these experiences in everything really, any sort of culture, any sort of like pop culture thing, where I get really into it, I make a bunch of stuff for it, and then I start worrying about something related to it. Whether it's something like a decision that they're doing in a series, or a character choice that I'm making in a system. I always worry about that. And I do need to get out of my head a bit more and sort of like, I think me talking it out does help a bit more. But also I think what also does help, which occasionally I do voice my stuff with like either my mum or my friends, and it does help to just hear them go, no, you're overreacting. You know, something like that. It's just like, hold a second, calm down, you are overreacting. It's what you are thinking that you're not, what you're thinking that you know 99%, there's a 99% chance that you are just being dumb. You are being dumb. You know, that kind of thing. It's like, what you think and you're almost certain is true, that what you this thing that you're worrying about is completely incredibly unlikely, and even if it does happen, there's plenty of ways we can solve it and it's not a big deal. It is something that you shouldn't be worrying about. So yeah, that's been really, it's been an interesting time, honestly, going through that whole thing and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Because there's also that part, as I mentioned before, there's always that part that's like, but do I use this time to play a monk? Because goddamn have I wanted to play a monk for so long. So finally being able to do it, that would be really cool. Oh, a healing item. I guess I must have done my 500th kill with a summon, which is 500 kill just in general, because I only have summons. Even my bullets are summons. Also, there's this whole thing, I did a tweet about this before, but there was this whole thing with Arcane. Arcane's now out. I'm not sure how many episodes are out, but I know that it is out. And I'll be honest, I haven't been able to watch it, and I'm at that point now where I have to very much limit how much Twitter I look at, sorry, X I look at, because if I don't, I'm definitely going to be spoiled. I'm not happy that that's how it works, but it is how it works. Come on, laser. Laser guy, die. Ooh, summon buff, summon buff. Rage, elemental, stillness. I guess we take elements. But yeah, it's been pretty good generally though. This past week, I can't really complain about anything that's happened. I was able to have a bit of a catch up with one of my friends who I hadn't talked to in a couple of weeks, which was nice. It's one of those situations where, because of the fact that I stream on the like now for like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, plus the fact that that means that on the days on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm of that sort of like mindset of just like, I just want to relax and not really do anything. it really meant that I've limited how much I've been able to actually talk with my friends as much. Add on the fact that because one of them's had some medical problems, I won't go into details because I haven't gotten permission to talk about their private life. Our sort of like normal weekly things that we would do, sorry, bi-weekly thing that we would have done, also hasn't happened. So that sort of like meant that generally I just haven't really been talking with them, and it was sad. It was sad to know, like, it was having that time to talk with them just for a couple hours. Like, I think we talked for like 4 hours. It was just really fun to sort of do that again. But yeah, well, it was good to do, and it just made the already pretty decent day even more decent, you know? I'm also really happy because this week, in addition to the whole TTRPG thing I'm doing, also one of my favorite shows that I think is only a British thing. I think it might be done in places like Germany and everything, but I think they do it in a different place. But we have this thing in the UK called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. It's one of those reality TV shows where they take a bunch of celebrities. A lot of them are just like British people that you don't know. And they put them in this sort of like this camp in the middle of like a jungle in Australia, right? And then they just sort of like, it's not like they have to like make everything to survive. It's not like a Bear Grylls sort of like survival kind of thing. Like, they get the basic rations, which is just like just about what you need of rice and beans, and that's it. Like, it's just enough. Well, it's not just enough to survive. It's like less than you would probably eat of rice and beans, and that's exclusively what they have, unless they succeed in these trials that they earn like stars in, that, and the stars represent a bigger and bigger meals. And even if they get all the stars, the meal's not huge. Like, they never get to a point where they're like eating like kings, except for like special events that happen like near the end, or like after winning like a huge competition or something. So yeah, like, it's a really, I don't know why, because I'm not really a reality TV person. Like, all the other stuff like Love Island and, well, that's the big one, but like we also had something called Big Brother. I don't know if that went to other countries as well. But like, those kinds of things aren't my thing at all. No interest with them. And it's not that they don't have celebrities in them, because I don't care for the celebrity Big Brother either. I just don't care for those ones. But for some reason, I don't know why, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, it's just been so, like, been such a big part of my life, and I love it whenever it's on. It also helps that it just means that we're on the road to Christmas, which, you know, Christmas isn't the same as it used to be now that I'm older, but it's still a time in which I get to use all of my holidays to have a load of time off, but also just a time of like relaxing and like luxury and family. It's always really, really good. Yeah, we're doing pretty well here, but I don't want to jinx it by talking about the game, so that's all I'm going to say. Are we out of any form of summoning buffs? That's a shame. But yeah, like, that's going to be great. I've got Arcane to watch. It's the point in the of the year where a load of games come out to try and get the Christmas sale. If you haven't if you don't watch it, I would highly recommend watching something called the Jingle Jam if you have some time over the first 2 weeks of Christmas of December. It's a great charity event that I highly recommend watching. It's always a huge part of my life whenever it's on. Whenever you reload, create a black hole that pulls nearby enemies. I feel like this with the sword on Darkness 6 is the way to go. We don't have an obvious way of playing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But yeah, like that's coming up. That's always really great. It's a group called the Yogscasts, and they're really fucking funny in general. I love them. I mean, I am biased because it's kind of my childhood, them. But I love them. They're just great. I don't know how good this black hole is. If I'm being completely... I don't understand the logic of, like, the build for it, you know? Do I just take the egg? I know we've kind of not gone summon build, but if you get the egg this early, do you just instantly lock in summon build? I'm gonna do it. I know it's the same thing I always do, but when you get the dragon egg in your like first 3 upgrades, I feel like it's a sign that you should just do it. Another thing I was thinking of doing, I don't know if this is honestly a potential for me to play after Baldur's Gate. So this one's like on the list with Dragon Age. I might give like Starfield a go again. Is that the name of it? Like the Bethesda space game? Because I gave it a bit of a try. I might have even given it a bit of a try on stream. I don't think I did though. But I gave it a bit of a try and I just sort of got bored, or maybe a different game came up that took up my attention. But there's been a DLC to it, and it's been a while now since the game's been out. And so I kind of wonder if maybe the game's okay. Maybe add like a mod or two to see if that potentially improves the like the little tiny bits that aren't as fun. Like I'm sure they still got the whole thing of like there being this whole planet, but there absolutely being nothing actually on the planet because actually nothing on the planet because they've just all got them in these very small areas. But I don't know. I think it might be worth a try. I think I've got that sort of itch to play those kinds of games, and I don't know what that specific genre is. I think it's just Bethesda games is what I'm sort of how I've got this itch to play. Let's take this. I still don't know if it's any good, that explosion thing. I know it's good when you've got a load of those skulls going around when you play the skull lady. I think her name is Lilith. But yeah, I might give that a try. That might be the way I go. Alternatively, like, no, I don't think I want to play that. I considered saying something, and then I thought about it for a second. I decided against it. Wait, is this doing nothing? I think I took this last time just to see what it did, and it did nothing, and I've done it again. I will also have to look at the Game Pass to see if there's any Game Pass game I'm particularly interested in playing. Because if there's like a long form RPG that's on there that I want to give a try, then I may as well, because it's, you know, it's I have the Game Pass, so I've got it for effectively free. But it's not free, but you know what I mean. My damage is exclusively from the spin. Like, I'm just shooting in a random direction, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm interested to see, like, if those sort of, like, I'm really a big fan of long form RPGs, and so seeing if they actually hold up or like actually are good it's just always interesting for me. I think the thing that I will say when it comes to that is I feel like I have a much, like, I'm not a reviewer. When I look at these kinds of games, if I have fun playing the game, then the game's already a good game. I think generally people use the word, like, they don't use the word good enough for what a game actually is. If you're having fun playing a game, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good game. Now, where I put my, like, asterisk is, like, is it a great game? So a lot of the time with games, if I play a game and it's just a good game, I'm probably putting, like, my rating of it is probably like a 6 or a 7, right? Because 5 for me is bang average, and then, like, there might be like 1 or 2 things in it that I find particularly interesting. If I do, I'm probably going to bump it up by a couple points. If, for example, I really liked Rogue Trader. If I was going to give it a rating, I'd probably give it an 8. Even though I said it's like one of my favorite, sort of, like, that was my own fault. I could have just moved out of the way. I actually quite like this build. Maybe I can not go summon now. So, like, I would probably call it an 8, maybe a 9, because it has problems. It's probably an 8.5 because I love the story. I love the characters. I think the combat's okay. I don't think it's exceptional. I think the difficulty has a huge problem. I think the ability to understand how some of the abilities work that you get from leveling up, that long list of how to do that. That long list of abilities that you have, and how they interact and which ones are the best ones to pick, I think is not intuitive. And I think that my whole understanding is the only person I can talk about is myself, right? If I'm confused about what to pick when I'm leveling up, then I'm going to mention that as a potential problem with the game. I should not be looking at a list of stuff and going, what the hell do I pick? In the context of what in the context of the way I was saying it. So if I'm saying, what do I pick, in the context of, like, all of these things are cool, I have to pick one of them, what do I pick, kind of thing, then yes, that is probably a good thing to be having in your game. But if I'm going, what do I pick? Because simultaneously I'm like, I don't know which one of these is useful for me, and I don't even know how to play one of the classes I'm playing, then I feel like either your tutorial hasn't been good enough, or the way that you word stuff isn't good enough, or just in general, the combat system needs to be made a bit more easier to You want your game to be easy to use, hard to master, right? But you also want it so that the people that don't understand how to get to the level of being a master are still able to get through your game on normal. Because normal should be, in my opinion, normal, unless your game is specifically made to be a hard game, normal difficulty should be something that somebody can play through with basic understanding of your game. The average person, and I always choose myself in that context because I'm the only person I know and I think I'm pretty average. But if I can get through your game and understand the basics of your system, like I'm not talking about the little nitty-gritty stuff like, oh, if you have this on and this on, you're able to do something that you couldn't normally do. Or like I look to like games like Path of Exile or Diablo, right? I look at Path of Exile and I go, this game is not new user friendly in any capacity. It could have changed since I last played. I played 2 years ago. So it could have changed since then. But I look at that game and I don't go... I go that this game's biggest problem is that it's not new user friendly. If I have to look up a guide to figure out how I'm supposed to play, like get through the main story... I'm not talking about the special high ranking like raids or whatever the equivalent of the end, the sort of post story stuff is. I'm talking like the basic game. If I can't play through that with basic understanding of your game, picking stuff that generally would work together but maybe isn't the most synergistic, like to a certain extent picking stuff that I think looks cool but like not being incredibly synergistic, but also not being like stupid and picking completely random abilities. Like if I want to be like a fire mage, for example, and I'm picking everything that seems to say things related to mana, things related to fire damage and fire-based skills, and I can't beat your game, then there's something wrong with the way that either you've done your tutorial, because it hasn't said what else I'm supposed to be focusing, or like the way that the interface is, you've done something bad here, in my opinion. And Path of Exile is probably the perfect example of that, because that game's really cool. And in fact, a lot of those style games I've started playing and then realized that that genre is just not for me. As much as I find it really interesting and really cool, and there's all these interesting things you can do in the game, I look at these kinds of games and I shouldn't have taken that ability. I don't want more ammo in this gun. I look at those kinds of games and I play them for a bit, and I play like the Titan's Quest, or I think one of them's called Grim Hollow or something, or Grim something like that. I might be mixing it up with like a book I was reading or something, but I look at those kinds of games and I'm like, this is really cool. But then I hit a point where it's obvious that in this game that they're like, okay, now if you don't have a very optimized build, or like a build that has been very like a decently optimized, good luck. In my opinion. Gem of Rage. Bullet damage down, knockback down, but the fire rate and spread is up. No. Max damage, lose dodge, sure. And it happened in that game, it happened in Titan's Quest, it happened in Path of Exile. What I will say, and I loathe to compliment Blizzard, but Blizzard has shown that I feel like many people who like those games would potentially call it like an easy or a baby version of it. But I kind of see it less as that and more of like a, this is what the base one should be. And then there should be a hard mode that puts it into what the average difficulty of the other ones is. But like in Diablo, generally, you get to choose your abilities that look cool. It's pretty obvious which abilities like work well together, because they'll also be like, this one's also ice, you know, and they're pretty simple abilities that are easy to look at. When you upgrade, you don't see like a huge screen of like constellations you have to pick skills from, or like this huge web of stuff that you have to look at. Instead, it's just like, look, here's a list of skills you can choose from. Here's a list of abilities you can choose from. They're not particularly complicated, but there's variety in that, so you can do your own thing. I mean, I played through all of Diablo 3 as this sort of mage that shot this like fire laser out, and then I've even got into and did a bit of the sort of like post-game stuff where I got this armor that was all about just buffing that one attack. And I was having a great time with that. And in Diablo 4, from what I've played of it, because I stopped playing it because I think another game came out. I'll have to go back into that and actually play it again. But in that game, it's generally the same thing for me. I go into it, I just pick the things that looked cool. And I play through the game and have fun. Simple as. Nothing to really say about that kind of stuff. It's the kind of game that I understand is fun. Like, for me, it's fun because I don't understand the nitty-gritty. I never have. In RPGs, I'm never the person that's like, you know, when there's a load of armor and it's like in your RPGs and it'll be like, this one gives you plus attack but minus defense, and this one gives you plus this and minus that. I'm the kind of person who picks the generic armor, and then just the only time I'll change my generic armor is to the better version of that generic armor, because I don't know what's good. And I have an ability that I like, and that'll be the ability that I focus because it's fun to use, you know, that's it. Ooh, there's a 50% chance to smite. That kind of deals damage equal to movement speed. I want to take the light blade, because it looks cool. And I'd taken the katana already. I think I might try and get some more smite stuff. I don't think I've got any at the moment except for literally my sword that does the smite. I don't see anything here that's smite related. I could take the fire. I think I like curse more than fire. Only because it just looks cooler. But yeah, I'm not the kind of person, even with like generic RPGs, I'm not the kind of person that's very good at the nitty-gritty stuff. Especially if there's a crafting system that like is slotting in gems. I avoid games where that's a major part of it, because I'm not very good at. I'm not very good at like figuring out what gems are good, or figuring out what to do. I'm the kind of person that hits attack and always hits attack, except for the time when I use heal, and that's it. Like any buffs to damage or attack or defense, I just sort of, honestly, I probably avoid most of the time. Red? Increase feeling memory. I kind of feel like this would be bad. In fact, maybe taking this was the worst decision I could have made there. Yeah, it was. Cool. Yeah, I guess I've just decided to artificially weaken myself. Good to know. You know, my idea when I chose the sword was that, hey, would it be good if I was able to just kill, like, mow through these guys? Okay, we'll pick this up, because I never normally pick this up. And I don't really know what spread means. But bullet speed's kind of good. But yeah, they're not my kind of things. I'm playing an RPG. I'm probably mostly playing it for A, power fantasy, and B, for a cool story. And that's probably it. Like, I want some, I don't mind some challenge. And also, this is me prefacing all of this with, only if I'm playing on my own. If I'm playing with a friend, I want to be playing on max difficulty. And it becomes a puzzle that I'm playing with a friend. And that's infinitely better. If I'm not playing with a friend, I just get frustrated, if I'm being completely honest. I will just get frustrated and not do it anymore. Which I know is... It's a bad thing to do, but I think it's a different experience when you're playing with friends, because you're just having fun. God, I need to buff my smite by like a significant amount. If we could get like a buff to it, it's like equal to how much max health I have, instead of it being like how much current health I have. Because I don't like the idea of the more damage I'm taking, the worse my damage gets. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand the logic behind it, because like the healthier you are, the more divine you are, kind of thing. But if I'm taking damage, I'm probably taking damage because the enemies are starting to overwhelm me. Like, I'm not able to kill them fast enough for me to keep up with the sheer amounts that are coming at me, right? So if that's happening, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm doing less damage, which means I can kill less of them, which means they're overwhelming me more, you know? How did I not take... Did I take damage from that hail of gunfire? I must have, right? Yeah, look at this. Look at all this damage I'm taking. I just want this guy dead. Kill this guy. I miss being able to do a full rotation of these blimmin' things. Okay. I know that. Yeah, I need that. I'm gonna die, aren't I? Oh. Cool. Okay, we're getting out of here. Peace. Get me out of here. Where's my black holes when I need them? Please. Okay, this is... What do I want to do now? I could play Crow Lady. I don't really like Crow Lady. Frost Butterfly Lady. Frost Butterfly Lady's kind of cool. I'll take Frost Butterfly Lady. And I'll take dual SMGs. Do I want to try? No, I don't want to try that. Runes? Oh. Do you reckon I should be buying these? You know what? It's probably fine. What have we got? We've got enough to do another round of this, even if we do really well. Do 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 do. Boo ba dee ba dee boo. Oh yeah, I love RPGs, but it has to be a certain kind of RPG. I've realized the longer I've gone on, the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that I have a very specific RPG sort of thing. And most of the time it should be like, I think my best style of combat is probably like Divinity style or like Baldur's Gate style. Kind of Larian style, I guess. Because it's like turn-based, but it feels more like dynamic because it's not turn-based, but simply just sitting at the guy and you basic attack. It's like, no, there's a whole area to it. And in fairness, I think that's the way that a lot of CRPGs are starting to add turn-based into it. Is that way. I don't think knockback is at all useful for me. Which makes you think, oh, maybe I should take that rage rune if I get to that area. But I don't think. The thing is about that rage one is it also lowers damage. It just feels like it's all about like on hit stuff. I'm not sure if I think you're ever in a situation where the worry is the damage. The worry is the on just shooting and not the fact that you're doing any damage. I guess if you're all in on like lightning or like or curse, no, it feels like only lightning. That feels like the only one I'd be like, okay, I can see why you've chosen to take that one instead of the other ones, because it's not a small debuff to damage either. And the biggest bonus you're getting is the tripling your ammo. Which would be insane, by the way, on this. Because I would have like 40... It's triple, so it'd be more than 42. It'd be like... I don't know, like 70 something? No. That's if I quadrupled it. It'd be like probably in the 50s. Based on quick maths. I like how obviously I don't have enough damage, and normally that would screw me. But because I'm this character... I just freeze everything in place. And now do 50%, 15% of their max HP. I tell you what though, you know how they've got going back to Baldur's Gate because it's sort of on my mind at the moment. You know how like they've added the mod manager kind of thing, so you can do mods in their game, and they're like, and it's like officially you're allowed the framework and everything, and it's easier to do. I can understand why one of the first mods and one of the ones they show off is the one where it's like you can have everybody in your group, because goddamn am I like debating constantly about whether I want to change who's in my group, because I care about the stories, as I said before. I need more piercing. And by more piercing, I need piercing. Freeze him. Okay, I do think that the more I talk, the more I'm like, actually, I feel like this is the build in which you'd want the rage thing. Ice, but sheer amounts of numbers of ice is the build you want to go. You know, every time I freeze him, I think it's doing 1% of his health. Which I know doesn't sound like much, but it's in addition to all the damage I'm doing. And he only can take 100 of those if I am right in one. No, that's not right, is it? Because only when you're 100% health, unless it's doing 1% of your max health or 1% of your current health. I'd have to look at the wording. Because my assumption was like max health. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, well, it could just be of current health. Reload and ready. Alternatively, I could be shooting behind me. I like shooting behind me. Okay, at this point it just shot one person. More butterflies? Ooh. Don't mind if I do. Look at the butterflies go out. Cool thing about the butterflies is if they've already frozen somebody. First off, stupid amount of damage there. Don't know why I hit that tree. I thought I could skirt around it, but obviously I can't. Do you reckon the trees are considered bosses? The only reason I say that is because I think when I won with the previous version of this build, I also had this. The reason I say that is because I remember this sheer amount of bullets on a run that I at least got pretty far in. You see, with this build, I actually think that the 1% health that every time they freeze actually adds up to being significant. Like, I feel like I feasibly could freeze that guy 100 times. And it not be that weird. Summoning, I'm not summoning. Stillness, I'm not... I mean, this is just... Oh, damage dealt is reduced. I forgot about the secondary part of that. I'll take an extra health so that I don't die. I was kind of hoping for increases to weapon damage. You know that one that increases damage and all that other good stuff, but then I lose 1 max health? That one would be cool. I don't think I want to lower my spread. That's not... Doesn't feel like the way I'm going. Even though it would increase my damage a bit. You know what I want? I want shrapnel. And then I want to get the things that makes it so that my on hits... I don't even know if this is even a thing. But like a thing where like my on hits are affected. Like work with my shrapnel. I'm saying this. And I'm like, is that already a base thing? Do I take fire? Splinter. It's not called shrapnel, it's called splinter. Course. Completely different. Okay, that was... I don't know if you saw that, but that was completely instinctual, and I think it was absolutely badass, if I say so myself. I just dodged, went through the holes in their defenses like several times. Now, admittedly, I am using a lot of hyperbole there. I just dodged a couple of enemies. But in my head, that was so cool. You know what I never thought I'd actually hear, that I've been hearing occasionally on like Twitter and stuff? Is apparently that new Transformers cartoon is like actually good. And I've never thought of Transformers as anything more than just literally the action figure, the like, you know how like a lot of the early cartoons that were on TV were like effectively just there to sell you the action figure. You got like G.I. Joe and all that, and like all it's really there is to sell you like the action figure so that they can make money on that. And so it's just showing off how cool the character that you the action figure you bought is and how you should buy more of them. I always assumed the Transformer to be effective. Transformers like shows to always be that, and like the story with them has never been particularly like good or interesting. But I saw snippets of this newest one, and like the story's like kind of interesting. And I'm sure there's people that like die-hard fans that would be saying something along the lines of, "Oh no, this has always been a thing." But I'm sorry, like I put it on the same pedestal as like the Sonic games, where generally, like I'm sure they have an interesting story, but to the layman, it kind of just looks like generic story to sell you on Sonic to play and the game play itself is interesting. Like I never look at a baseline Mario game and go, the story, yeah, that's the good bit. I look at the Mario games and go, well, it's the platforming's really cool and it's just really fun and nice, you know? Enemies affected by freeze explode when... Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. This maybe this means I can kill large amounts of enemies easier. It seems like it's doing its job, honestly. That's huge. Mini clip. Lower ammo, increase reload rate, increase bullet damage. That seems good. My reload rate isn't that high at the moment. Like, that doesn't seem like it's particularly fast. But I know the reload rate in general on these guns is not particularly high. What I need to get was the other option that was actually there. That was like, every time you kill somebody, the reload rate is like slightly faster. I picked the wrong thing there, didn't I? I didn't. I thought I didn't click on it. I really thought I didn't click on it. But yeah, but I was looking at it and like, I think there was a part of me that was the like little child that was like what they were originally making Transformers for, who was just like, this character looks awesome. Because one of the villains is like, I'm not sure if this is like a new character or whether this has always been a thing in like the comics or something. And by the way, I'm just assuming there are Transformer comics, because it feels like it's the kind of thing that would have those. But there's like a lady that was like, she's like spider like arms on her back, and she turns them into like a circle and becomes a helicopter. And she's pretty freaking cool. That's definitely one of the things that came out of it. Bullets deal 400% more against frozen enemies. Hallelujah. Okay, this might have changed my build from barely killing stuff to killing absolutely everything. So that's pretty useful. But yeah, I was like, first off, I was like, that's pretty badass. And then the story about like, I don't think it really matters if I spoil the story, but like, the story seemingly at the moment, and I do feel like it's going to get a second season based on what I've seen of the reception of it, is that like, it's like a prequel to the movies in the sense that it's on their actual planet. And it's like their leader is actually not secretly evil, who's been selling, like ripping out their ability to transform when they're a kid. And then making them work in the mines so that she can live rich and pay off this evil alien group that they thought was their like absolute enemy, but apparently not. And it's like, you also have the situation where they switch around, or maybe this has always been a thing. They have like Megatron be a genuinely like at least at the start, a genuine friend of Optimus. And like even seemingly in the clip I was watching, when they were obviously at odds to a certain extent, it didn't feel like they were enemies. They just felt like they were people with different ideals. I was just like, this is kind of kind of good. You know, there's stuff to that this is actually quite interesting. So I might give that a watch. But I never thought I'd say that, because Transformers, like, they were cool when I was a kid, but I don't think I was ever one of those people that was really into them, you know? Because I guess maybe I was never really into cars in general, right? And I think that's a pretty major part of the appeal of them. I don't want any of these. I mean, I guess this does damage over time and increases my vision range. I'm not really sure really how vision range... I've never had a problem with vision in this game. That's the thing. I've never been like, god damn, what I need is more vision range. Whereas like in Disfigure, like vision range is a notable important thing that I go out of my way to pick up. But yeah, I don't know how good these abilities are. It was just kind of the best of the situation there. But yeah, I was really surprised to hear about that. Ow, I didn't see the tree. I need more health again. Oh, this one actually might... Oh, I'm saying, which of these things did I pick? That one. Okay, so this is actually useful, because movement speed actually increases my damage. Which I guess is already insane, because it's getting buffed by 230%. Or depending on how they do the percentages, whether it's additive or multiplicital. That's not a word. But whether they... Because I've got two separate abilities. One of them increases my damage by 200% if they're frozen. And another one increases my damage when they're frozen by 30%. Now, I think I get more if... I think I get more if they go with the whole idea of adding 200, then adding 30%. Than I do if they add 230%. I think. I mean, it's been a while since I learned math. But I'm pretty sure. But yeah. I think it's... Either way, I'm doing a lot of damage. And I'm in like the 300. So it's... when lightning strikes an enemy, there's a 30% chance to refill your weapon. No, I think I'm just gonna take... Do I take fire rate? Because if I go into fire rate, I can get bounce. Bounce is pretty good. Yeah, I kind of want to go to fire rate. I think fire rate's the way to go. Honestly, when I started this, I did not expect us to win this one. But it generally feels like, unless we die to the laser boy, which I think is likely, if I'm being completely honest, because I'm bad at dodging lasers. Or I guess I could just say I'm bad at dodging. It doesn't help that he doesn't stay frozen enough for me to actually get the damage off. Which I guess is a disadvantage of this build. Increase max health, increase damage, but all damage by that. Increase my bullet bounce. Nah, I'll take this. It's just a general buff. But with all these bullets going around, I think if I get like hit twice, I'm screwed. Which isn't great. But yeah, I think I underestimated this character a bit. I think the like, I didn't think the ice butterflies would be particularly useful. And I do think I thought of the whole idea of being with the double SMGs before. I just think that, I don't know, maybe I just didn't get the right things to make the builds work right. I'm honestly surprised that this boss, even if he is a boss, has survived that long. Double how often frost butterflies freeze or damage an enemy nearby. I thought they did it instantly anyway. I'm surprised that this you could do it quicker. Okay, yeah, we're mowing through these enemies. We are just incredible at killing hordes at the moment. Increased damage applies on hit of, oh, so it could apply. Ooh, that's actually kind of good. So it applies freeze, because that's my on hit effect, or at least one of my on hit effects. What are you doing, cat? What are you doing? You're literally blocking my ability to see. If you don't move and right, okay, I'm moving you. I know. We're taking magnetism. You know, when we're taking magnetism that we love the build. The build is working. But yeah, this is insane. I'm glad I got a good ice build. I don't think I've ever gotten a good ice build. So being able to finally get one is pretty cool. And also, I guess lightning's here. I kind of forgot that I had a lightning build. Well, I had lightning in general, not a lightning build. This bug always appears when I never want it. It's insane how often it comes up when I'm just like not doing anything related to lightning or summoning. This bonus resets when you get hit. I don't like bonuses that reset when I get hit in general. Pick this one. I don't know, let you know. Do you reckon I should try out teamfight tactics? Because I'm really into the idea of playing. I really like auto battlers. I play a lot of auto battlers. What does this one do? Shooting or standing still? I don't care about that. I'll take the glare because the glare seems fun, and I never take that. I love auto battlers. I play a lot of auto battlers, like stuff like Hearthstone Battleground, stuff like that. And TF2 is like, Teamfight Tactics has become such a like its own thing that you have a launcher just for it. And so I'm like, is it maybe worth me giving it a shot? But then I look at the stuff and I'm like, oh, there's items. Like, you put items on your heroes, and I'm not 100% sure if that kind of stuff is... I don't know anything about League of Legends, and I would literally just be playing it for the auto battler. Like, do you need to know something about League of Legends to play it? Like, to a good degree? See, this bounce ability, I swear, doesn't work. And the reason I bring that up is because I swear, like, there's so many times where I assume bounce means it hits an enemy, and then the enemy, like, the attack bounces off said enemy and hits, and it, like, what's the word? It bounces off said enemy and hits a different enemy. So it's effectively like it's ricocheting and hitting multiple enemies, but I never see it do that. And maybe it's because I've got piercing. I'll take the regen. Maybe I can get to a point where I have a lot of health. I mean, every point to my health is also, I guess, points to my damage, which I guess is something. Like that's a... I think we've gotten to a point now where, like, any more bits of damage is not really needed. Like, if I was playing against this build in, like, a PvP situation, I would be pissed. So pissed. Because they would just be like, I can't do anything. If they see me, I just lose. Let's take this. This technically boosts my damage, and then my damage again through a different form. I don't like having to dodge these attacks, though. What the heck was that? You've been frozen! Come on. It's dead. You see how much I was shooting there, though? Because I had a lot of ammo, and I was able to, every time it would freeze them for 1 second and do 1% of their health plus the damage I was doing, and the damage was up by 200%. That's so much. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there. That was actually perfect timing because I think it's literally just hit 9. So hope everyone had a good time. I will see you on Wednesday for probably the finale of Act 2 of Baldur's Gate. I mean, I'm not great at predicting these because I thought I was in the finale of the patch quests in Final Fantasy XIV, like last episode and kind of the episode before, and I've been wrong both times, but I'm thinking it is. There's not anything else to do there, so unless the fight takes literally 2 hours, I think we'll be fine. I'll see you on Wednesday for that. I'll see you on Friday for Final Fantasy XIV, and then I'll see you next week for more of this. Probably, it might be more of this game, might be something else. I feel like I want to change it up, because this is supposed to be a bit more of a variety thing. But the way I pick this one is it's kind of just whatever I feel like playing when I get home. And so I just have felt like playing this. So until then, have a good couple of days. Bye.